The first thing Alya noticed when the Stellar Dawn dropped out of hyperspace was the sheer scale of the Vraath fleet. Hundreds of ships, massive dreadnoughts, sleek battlecruisers, and swarms of fighters stretched out before her like a wall of steel and fire. The Vraath weren't just attacking. This was an extermination force. "Captain," Thane said from his station, his voice tight with urgency. "We've confirmed the fleet's size. Sensors are picking up over 1,000 ships. They're moving into attack formation." Alya stood at the center of the bridge, her eyes locked on the view screen. The Alliance fleet was vastly outnumbered. The ragtag force of rebel ships, mercenaries, and planetary militias didn't stand a chance in a straight fight. They had known this was coming, but seeing it was something else entirely. "Send word to the fleet," Alya ordered, her voice steady. "We're going with Plan Delta, hit-and-run tactics. We can't engage them head-on. Our goal is to harass, disrupt their formation, and make them bleed for every inch." Thane nodded and relayed the orders, but Alya could see the strain on his face. Everyone on the Stellar Dawn knew what they were up against. This wasn't a battle they could win with numbers or firepower. They had to outthink the Vraath, hit them where they least expected it, and survive long enough to slow their advance. Mira appeared beside Alya, her expression grave. "The artifact has been secured in the vault, but Captain, I'm still getting strange readings from it. The energy levels are increasing. It's reacting to the Vraath presence." Alya's jaw clenched. The artifact had grown more powerful since the last battle, and its presence weighed heavily on her. She could feel its pull, always there, like a whisper in the back of her mind. But she hadn't touched it since Corrin's betrayal. She wasn't ready to trust its power. Not yet. "Keep monitoring it," Alya said quietly. "If it starts to become unstable, I want to know immediately." Mira nodded and returned to her station, leaving Alya to stare out at the looming Vraath fleet. This was it. The war had begun in earnest, and Earth was the prize. "Captain," Thane said suddenly, his voice urgent. "Incoming transmission. It's from the Vraath flagship." Alya's heart skipped a beat. "Put it on screen." The view screen flickered, and the cold, reptilian features of Commander Zale appeared. His sharp, predatory eyes gleamed with disdain as he regarded Alya from his command chair aboard the massive Vraath dreadnought. "Captain Trent," Zale hissed, his voice dripping with contempt. "You've assembled quite the little fleet, but it won't be enough. Surrender now, and I may spare a few of your colonies from complete annihilation." Alya didn't flinch. "You know we won't surrender, Zale. This isn't about colonies. This is about survival." Zale's eyes narrowed. "Survival? You misunderstand, Captain. The Vraath Empire doesn't tolerate resistance. We don't negotiate. You will be crushed, and your people will be nothing more than a memory." Alya's gaze hardened. "We've beaten you before. We'll do it again." Zale's thin smile revealed rows of sharp, predatory teeth. "You may have delayed the inevitable, but today is different. Today, you face the full might of the Vraath. And when we are done, there will be no more rebellions, no more defiance, only submission." The transmission ended abruptly, and the bridge fell into a tense silence. Alya clenched her fists, her eyes burning with determination. Zale was confident, too confident, but he didn't understand what they were fighting for. The Vraath thought they could crush humanity, destroy the Alliance, and sweep across the galaxy unchallenged. But Alya knew better. They were fighting for something far greater than just territory or resources. They were fighting for their very existence. "Captain," Thane said, his voice steady, "the Vraath fleet is moving into Osician. They'll be in firing range in less than 5 minutes." Alya's mind raced as she calculated their options. The Alliance fleet was spread out, positioned in a defensive formation, but that wouldn't hold for long. They needed to be mobile, to strike fast and hard, and then disappear before the Vraath could respond. "Prepare the fleet for evasive maneuvers," Alya ordered. "We hit them from the flanks, take out their support ships, and then retreat before they can retaliate." Thane nodded, his fingers moving swiftly over the tactical console. "Understood, Captain. We'll make them bleed." Alya turned to the view screen, watching as the massive Vraath fleet continued to advance. The Stellar Dawn was ready, its weapons primed, its shields at full power. But it wasn't just the ship that mattered now. It was her. Alya could feel the artifact calling to her, pulling at the edges of her consciousness. It wanted to be used. It wanted to unleash its full power, but she wasn't sure if she could control it, not without losing herself in the process. But if she didn't use it, if she held back, they might not survive. She closed her eyes for a moment, steadying her breath. The whispers in her mind grew louder, the pulse of the artifact echoing through her thoughts. She could see the Vraath fleet in her mind's eye, every ship, every fighter, every weapon trained on them. And she could see something else, an energy, a power waiting to be unleashed. Alya opened her eyes, her gaze hard. "Thane, take command of the fleet. I need to go." Thane frowned, confusion flashing across his face. "Go? Where?" Alya turned to him, her expression unreadable. "The artifact." Realization dawned in Thane's eyes, and he hesitated. "Captain, are you sure? You said you weren't ready." Alya clenched her fists. "I don't have a choice. If we don't use it, we won't survive this. You know that." Thane nodded reluctantly, his jaw tight. "Understood. I'll keep the fleet together." Alya didn't wait for further discussion. She turned and strode out of the command center, her heart pounding in her chest. The artifact had been waiting for this moment, and so had she. The Vraath wanted to crush them, to destroy everything they had fought for, but Alya wasn't going to let that happen. Not today. The vault where the artifact was stored was cold, sterile, and bathed in the soft blue light of the pulsing relic. Alya stood before it, her hands trembling as she stared down at the glowing disk. The whispers in her mind had grown louder, more insistent. The artifact's power was calling to her, begging to be unleashed. She reached out slowly, her fingers hovering just above the smooth surface. The moment her skin touched the artifact, a surge of energy shot through her, so powerful it took her breath away. Her vision blurred, and for a moment she was lost in a sea of light and sound. Then the visions came. She saw the Vraath fleet, its massive dreadnoughts looming over the battlefield like titans. She saw the Alliance ships, outnumbered and outgunned, fighting desperately to hold the line. And she saw something else, something far beyond the Vraath. Ancient beings, entities of unimaginable power, watching from the edges of the galaxy. They were waiting for the right moment to strike. The artifact pulsed in her hand, and Alya knew what she had to do. She took a deep breath and let the power flow through her. The artifact's energy surged into her mind, her body, filling her with a sense of purpose, of clarity. She could feel the power coursing through her veins, connecting her to the universe itself. The Vraath were coming, but she was ready. Alya opened her eyes, her vision sharp, her mind focused. The war had begun, and she was the weapon. Back on the bridge, Thane watched as the Vraath fleet closed in, their weapons charging for the first strike. The Alliance ships were holding formation, but he knew they wouldn't last long. They were outmatched in every way. "Captain," one of the officers said, his voice tight with fear. "They're about to fire." Thane clenched his fists, his heart pounding. "Hold steady." Suddenly, the lights on the bridge flickered, and a low hum filled the air. Thane turned, his eyes widening in shock as the artifact's energy surged through the ship, through the entire fleet. "What the hell?" he whispered. The Stellar Dawn's weapon systems flared to life, glowing with the same blue light as the artifact. Energy beams shot out from the ship, slicing through the Vraath fleet with precision and power far beyond anything they had ever seen. The Vraath dreadnoughts exploded in brilliant flashes of fire and debris, their formations collapsing as the Alliance fleet, now empowered by the artifact, tore through their ranks. Alya's voice came over the calm and steady. "We're not done yet." The war had truly begun, and Alya Trent had become the galaxy's greatest weapon. Alya stood alone in the vault, her body still buzzing with the residual energy from the artifact. She had felt its power surge through her, reshaping her senses, sharpening her awareness. It had been overwhelming, but also exhilarating. The Vraath dreadnoughts, once untouchable, had crumbled under the artifact's might. For the first time, Alya had wielded the artifact's full potential, and it had worked. But now, as the adrenaline faded, she felt something else. Doubt. The artifact had given her the power to turn the tide of battle, but she could feel it creeping deeper into her mind, wrapping itself around her thoughts, her emotions. It wasn't just a tool or a weapon. It was alive, and every time she used it, it sank its roots further into her soul. She wasn't sure how much longer she could control it. A soft chime echoed through the vault, and the door slid open. Thane entered, his face lined with both awe and concern. "We drove them back," he said, his voice low. "The Vraath fleet is in retreat." Alya exhaled, feeling a small wave of relief wash over her. "Good. How's the rest of the fleet?" Thane stepped closer, his expression grim. "We took heavy losses. Half of the mercenary ships are gone, and the rebel colonies lost a third of their forces. But the worst part isn't the casualties." Alya's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" Thane glanced over his shoulder, as if making sure they were alone. "Corran." The name sent a cold chill down Alya's spine. "What about him?" "He's gone," Thane said, his voice tight with frustration. "When the battle started turning in our favor, he disappeared. We've searched the ship, but there's no sign of him." Alya's heart pounded. She had suspected Corran's ambitions would lead him to act out, but she hadn't expected him to abandon the fight in the middle of a battle. Something had changed. Something had pushed him over the edge. "I'll find him," Alya said, her voice cold. "And when I do, he'll answer for this." Thane nodded, but there was something else in his eyes, something that unsettled her. "There's more," he said carefully. "We intercepted a communication. Corran made contact with someone before he vanished. We don't know who yet, but the signal wasn't from inside the Alliance." Alya clenched her fists, fury rising in her chest. "He's turned." Thane's expression hardened. "It looks that way." Alya closed her eyes, trying to steady herself. Corran's betrayal wasn't just a blow to the Alliance. It was a direct threat to everything they had fought for. She had trusted him, given him a second chance after his initial ambition had threatened to tear the Alliance apart. And now, he had betrayed them when they needed unity the most. "Do we know where he went?" Alya asked, her voice tight. Thane shook his head. "Not yet. But we're running a trace on the communication. It'll take time, but we'll find him." Alya nodded, though her mind was already racing ahead. She couldn't wait for a trace. Corran was too dangerous, and if he had aligned himself with an enemy outside the Alliance, it meant they were facing more than just the Vraath. They were facing betrayal from within. "Keep me updated," Alya said, her voice cold. "I want every available resource tracking him down." Thane hesitated, then nodded. "Understood, Captain." As Thane left the vault, Alya turned back to the artifact, its soft blue light pulsing rhythmically. She stared at it for a long moment, her thoughts swirling. Corran had always wanted the artifact's power, but now that he had left, she wondered what he was really after. The artifact hummed in her mind, a constant presence, always whispering, always calling. It wanted to be used, to be unleashed. But Alya couldn't help but wonder, was the artifact pushing her toward Corran? Or was Corran being drawn to the artifact? Either way, she knew one thing for certain. Corran's betrayal wasn't over. It had just begun. A few hours later, Alya stood on the bridge of stellar dawn, her mind sharp, her heart heavy. The Alliance fleet was regrouping, repairing the damage from the battle with the Vraath, but the atmosphere was tense. Everyone had seen Corran's sudden disappearance. Whispers of desertion and betrayal spread quickly through the ranks, eroding the fragile trust they had built. "Captain, I've got something," Mira said from her station, her fingers moving quickly over the controls. "I traced the communication Corran sent. It's routed through multiple relays, but it ends at a system outside Vraath space." Alya's pulse quickened. "What system?" Mira hesitated, then brought up a star map on the main view screen. A small, isolated system appeared in the corner of the galaxy, far from any major colonies or trade routes. "This system," Mira said, pointing at the screen, "it's uncharted, but there are rumors, stories about it. They call it the Void." Alya's eyes narrowed. "The Void?" Mira nodded. "It's a region of space where ships go missing. No one knows exactly why, but there's speculation that it's a dead zone. No communication, no navigation signals. It's like a black hole, but without the gravitational pull." Alya's heart raced. "And that's where Corran went?" Mira nodded. "That's where the signal ends. Whatever he's doing, he's gone into the Void." Alya stared at the star map, her mind racing. The Void. It was a place of mystery and danger, a region of space where even the Vraath dared not go. But Corran had gone there, and that meant one thing. He was looking for something. Something powerful. "We're going after him," Alya said, her voice firm. Mira's eyes widened. "Captain, the Void is a death trap. We don't know what's in there, and if we lose contact—" "I'm not asking for permission," Alya interrupted, her gaze hard. We can't afford to let Corrin disappear. Not now. Not after everything. Mira hesitated, then nodded. Understood. I'll prepare the ship for the jump. Alya turned to Thane, who had been listening quietly from his station. Ready the fleet. Tell them we're heading into the void. Thane's jaw tightened, but he didn't argue. Aye, Captain. As the crew moved to prepare the Stellar Dawn for the jump, Alya stood at the center of the bridge, her thoughts dark. Corrin had gone to the void for a reason, and whatever that reason was, it couldn't be good. The artifact pulsed in her mind, a constant reminder of the power she wielded. But now, it wasn't just about the artifact. It was about trust. Corrin had betrayed them, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was at play. The void was a place of legend, a place where ships and people disappeared. And now, Alya was about to follow Corrin into that darkness. But this time, she wouldn't let him escape. The Stellar Dawn dropped out of hyperspace just outside the boundary of the void, its sensors flaring as the ship neared the uncharted system. Alya stood on the bridge, staring at the swirling mass of space before them. The void looked like any other patch of space, dark, empty, but there was something off about it, something that made her skin crawl. Captain, Mira said quietly from her station, we're picking up nothing on sensors. No signals, no communications. It's a complete dead zone. Alya nodded. Then we're on our own. The bridge fell into a tense silence as the Stellar Dawn inched closer to the edge of the void. Alya could feel the weight of the unknown pressing down on her, the artifact's pulse growing stronger in her mind. Then, suddenly, the comms crackled to life. Captain Trent, a voice said, cold and familiar. I see you followed me into the void. Alya's heart skipped a beat. Corrin. Corrin's laughter echoed through the comms, dark and mocking. I should have known you'd come, but it's too late, Alya. You can't stop what's coming. Alya's fists clenched. What are you talking about, Corrin? What have you done? Corrin's voice lowered, filled with an eerie LM. I've found something, Captain. Something that makes the artifact look like a child's toy, and when I unleash it, the Vraath will be nothing compared to the real power I'll command. Alya's blood ran cold. Corrin, whatever you've found, it's too dangerous. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Oh, I understand, Corrin replied, his voice filled with twisted satisfaction. More than you ever will. The comms went dead, and Alya stared at the view screen, her heart racing. Corrin had found something in the void, and now the true war was about to begin.